hello.
How are you?
I'm doing very good.
Yeah. How are you finding the con experience altogether?
So far, it's been great. It's a really, really nice con. It seems like there's a lot of really cool artists here, which is really exciting, and everyone has been incredible so far.
Yeah. So you said that you've been going around the UK. How have you found it? Has it been nice? Has it been kind of like, the weather's not as great as back home?
I mean, the weather is a little too insane back home. It's, I don't know what the Celsius conversion would be, but it's almost 100 degrees. It feels like it's going to rain at any moment. So you're just like, you walk outside and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So honestly, a little cold, a little rainy is kind of a nice change of pace for us. So I'm really enjoying it. I love, we've been in London for a couple of days, so I'm doing a lot of city walking, seeing all the sights and getting the general tourist experience, which has been great.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. So with Stars and Stripes, the voice is very different to, like, say, yours or other roles that you've done. How did you get into the mindset of creating that voice, bringing it to life, and going like, yes, I'm Stars and Stripes?
Yeah, I definitely would say for her in particular, a big part of it is just knowing that her persona, her identity as a superhero, even her origin story is very centered around her relationship and her respect for All Might. So I was definitely like, what would a kind of feminine version of All Might sound like, and how would I present that? So I was definitely trying to emulate what Chris had brought to the role in the English dub as well for All Might, and then trying to bring that same confidence and power and presence. And we were, when I was originally cast, we were talking about having a very confident, booming presence and making sure it had the power behind it. And so that was a lot of the things we were really trying to go for with her.
Oh, nice. I just recently started watching it because I saw clips on TikTok and I was like, this character is absolutely amazing. And then when I noticed the quirk, I was like, that's really overpowered. Do you think that it's an overpowered quirk? Do you think it's this is kind of a normal one? What are your thoughts on her quirk?
I do think, on the surface, it does seem like something that's very overpowered, but I really like the way the writing focuses on it and really puts it in perspective that it does have limits, that she does have a certain amount of strength that she can exert, or a certain amount of output of power that she does have access to. And a lot of what has made her successful is her cleverness and the way she uses it, and how she has to factor in the fact that she is usually applying one half of it to herself to give her that level of power and strength that's kind of matched as close to All Might as she can get, but also that she has to then think about, okay, if I'm switching from one thing to another, how do I do that in a way that doesn't cause me to lose my edge or anything. So I think it's really good. Like there's a good number of limitations on it that make it, I think, just not too overpowered, and it really does make the fight, especially with Shigaraki, a lot more interesting.
Yeah. So going into with Yor, how do you think Yor and Spy Family in general have taken over the anime world? Why do you think Yor's become such a big, a popular character?
I think there's a lot of different factors. She is gorgeous and very capable as an assassin, but she's also very relatable in the way she struggles with her anxiety and how genuine she wants to be, a good mother and a good wife and just a good person and part of her family unit. So I think a lot of it, people see the genuineness behind it, but also admire her strength and her determination. So I think it all kind of just comes together and makes a very whole, complete person that's also very attractive.
Yeah, that's cool. It's like my friends and I have been watching it. I get halfway through, then I stop, and then I restart. Absolutely love it. One of my friends absolutely loves Spy Family a lot. So yeah, I hate the fact you're interviewing and you're there talking about it. So one big thing with going into a bit more technical questions, AI has become a huge big thing. How do you think that's going to affect the voiceover industry, the anime industry in general?
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. A lot of us are kind of very carefully watching and hoping to, we definitely want to be involved in shaping that, because our big thing is how do we do this in a way that it does not erase the need for actors and it does not become just a bad shortcut, that we're not eliminating where performance really comes in and where the human element is important, and to make sure that the things that fans especially come to the media they love for, that is not lost in the process. So I think that's kind of the big fight and the big concern right now is, how is AI able to be, how does it be utilized to eliminate busy work without eliminating the need for the jobs and making sure that the people are still able to, be able to be employed and still have the work and still have, bring the human element to it. So that way we're not just seeing it as a get-rich-quick scheme or as a way to eliminate humanity from the arts, which especially, seems very counterintuitive. So I think there's going to be a lot of more discussion about that, a lot of how do we balance this. But also I think there will always be a market and people will constantly be pursuing human performance, human art, where I don't think that computers are ever going to be able to fully replace that. And I think that's going to show long-term in the things that are successful, the things that stick around, the things that people actually care about. And eventually it will stop being seen as just like, yeah, you can make things faster, but they're not going to be as popular. They're not going to sell as well. And that I think that will also really shape the market as well.
How do you think anime has impacted modern culture today?
I think we're seeing it a lot in media right now too. It seems like a lot of Western animation is now taking inspiration from the way episodes are structured and the way the shots are compiled and the way action is done. I think we're even seeing that in live action. So I think those are really big factors, but also a lot of kids right now are learning to read by reading manga and getting a passion for that. They're watching the anime. It's becoming a much more normal part of the lexicon. People actually know what it is. Before it used to be like, you'd say anime and they're like, what's that? And you're like, Pokemon? Yeah. But now there's a chance people actually are like, oh, Naruto, Dragon Ball, all these other things. And it started My Hero Academia, all kinds of stuff. So that's, I think, becoming so much more normalized. So it is really interesting to see how it's no longer just this niche little industry, but it's becoming so global. Like you can walk into department stores now and just see they have anime merch right next to like SpongeBob or something like that. That's wild.
Cool. One very sneaky last question. When you saw any of your characters for the very first time in figure form, what went through your mind?
One of my characters in figure form?
Yeah, so like your first one, you're like, oh my god, that's my figure.
Oh, it's very surreal. Very, very cool though. Yeah. You're like, oh my goodness, I played that character and people make merch of that character and now I have the whole cabinet full of them.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk.
Thank you.
So I'm hoping you'll enjoy the rest of the con. And are you going to be coming over here any more time soon, or?
I don't know if I have anything announced right now, but I've definitely, I would love to do more shows over here in the UK. Anywhere that'll have me, honestly. It sounds great. I love traveling.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much.
I want to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to shout out AnimeConUK, Kira Stanada. Your help goes a long way to help support the channel, and if you want to help support the channel, the links to my Patreon and channel memberships are listed below in the description.
あらあら、チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができます。